Good afternoon, wherever you're at right now. Today we're going to talk about one of the most fun topics, I think, in business intelligence right now, which is really Power Query. And the reason why this is fun is because it creates actionable intelligence, meaning the intelligence that your business analyst can use and actually use right then and make decisions on. So if you have an aspiration to become a data scientist, or if you have a business analyst, you may want to have them look at the recordings of this later. We will have the recordings posted generally about by Monday, about a day and a half it takes to get the recordings up. So Monday afternoon or morning, you should be able to see these recordings and be able to knock this out. So definitely have your BA look at this later. Let's begin. My email address is on the screen right now. It's bknight@pragmaticworks.com, and my Twitter handle is @BrianKnight. I am the founder of Pragmatic Works, and I'm a SQL Server MVP here at Jacksonville, Florida. Again, I'm a founder of Pragmatic Works. We specialize in business intelligence and everything about data. So whether it be SQL Server data, everything SQL Server performance tuning or BI, we build tools, we do training, and we do services around those. I've authored, actually this is a little bit old slide now, I've actually just got my box in for my latest 2 books. I have 15 SQL Server books that nobody reads. The big red ones that you can use to chase off girls. And then I blog at a website called BIDN.com, which is the BI Developer Network. So what we're going to talk about today is taking data out, extracting data out, modeling it, and presenting it in very interesting and intriguing ways. We'll do this with a number of things, but here are some of the tools you can use for data extraction. Of course, now as a developer, you'll use things like SSIS. But in an Excel environment, the Power BI suite, most of you are recording this, right? Yeah, I assume as much. So for the extraction piece in Excel, for your end users and all around Self Service BI, you can use this Power Pivot or Power Query. Now, Power Query you can own today inside of Excel 2010 or 2013. It's a free plugin right now today, or it also comes with Office 365. We're going to take that data and we're going to do some interesting things with it. Now, where Power Pivot begins and ends, Power Query can, so everything that Power Pivot can do as far as extraction of data, Power Query can do as well. Now, the things that, so there's a little overlap here, but the parts that Power Query can do special would be things like getting data from big data. Maybe getting data from Facebook or maybe the Internet. The Internet is one of the most intriguing data sources out there, and I'll show you what I mean by that. We're going to focus this demo and a series of demos on Internet data sources specifically. So the question always comes in, so data modeling, you can do more advanced data modeling with Power Pivot, and then after that we'll do some data presentation with things like Power View or Power Map, and this is what we're going to actually use in this demo today. Power View can do things like charting and mapping and exporting of data, and Power Map is specifically for mapping and 3D maps. So Power Pivot's role is an overarching role, but there's some areas that Power Pivot can't handle, and that's like an ETL kind of question, right? Extracting data out, loading it, and transforming it somehow. So Power Query, if you think about Power Query, it's essentially a end user, power user ETL tool inside of Excel. It is not a replacement for SSIS. SSIS is a developer tool. Power Query is an end user tool. SSIS does things very, very well, very, very quickly, and Power Query does different types of things really well. Okay, so there's lots of ways you can pull data. You'll actually see a new Power Query button and a Power Pivot button up top there. And it's very good at discovering data. You can combine different data sets and mashing them together and then doing further refinement. Well, that's all my slides. And the rest of this is going to focus on how do we create actionable intelligence with Power Query. So I'm going to hop out here real quick. And my first demo, we're going to do 2 demos specifically here. And my first demo is going to focus in on where am I going to build my latest store. Okay, so that's my goal. I'm going to focus in on LA specifically right now. And the kind of store I want to build, how about let's build a donut store. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to search here for what other donut stores are in LA right now. And we're seeing some of the bakeries, surprisingly we're not seeing a whole lot of Krispy Kremes or Dunkin' Donuts here or Hortons or any of those. It's a very, very, boutique kind of brand looks like, right? So we're seeing a lot of different ratings here for all the different stores, donuts and all that. And now we want to figure out, well, I don't want to build right next to the donut store. So I want to find out where these existing donut stores are, and I want to build somewhere around this stretch of land right now, and I want to make sure I build away from another store. Okay, so that's my goal in this demo. And I can also see their Yelp ratings as well. So sounds pretty actionable, right? So a decision that you can make immediately and roll forward with. So if you see the URL up here, this is an interesting URL here. We can do things like the description we're looking for and the location of where we're trying to build. So wouldn't it be great if we could take that URL and translate it into a data set? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do right now. So let me go over to Excel. Now I'm going to open up an existing data set that I got off the web before this. And what we're seeing here is a list of all the zip codes in the LA area, in California area, all up and down the West Coast, matter of fact, all the zip codes, and how much, and this is from the census, by the way, what is the population by zip code in 2013, roughly, and what is the median age, what's the household income, is it a community on the incline or decline, what is the income average in that area, and all this kind of stuff here. So we can see the household income, the household value, all those kind of things, as well as how many 65-year-olds we have versus 20-year-olds. And this is some of the things that we do for customers out there. We help a lot of retail customers, our banking customers, figure out with demographic data how to do this. So now that we have this, I'm going to go, and again, that data was retrieved from the census at data.gov. In my case, though, I'll hit the Power Query button, and in case you don't see this tab, you can install this on the Microsoft website. After you install it, if the tab still does not show up, you can go to File and Options. Under File and Options, you'll see Add-ins, and you'll go look for COM Add-ins here, hit Go. You should then see Power Query now checked. And again, this plugin does work in Excel 2010 and 2013. Inside 2013 is actually much, much better. So I would definitely go 2013 if you can. So I can do things like online searching of data. Like I said before, for Power Pivot, there's a lot of overlap here, right? I have data from all these different data sources on the web, and physical data sources. So Oracle, SQL Server, whatever. I can go to other data sources and I can pull data from SharePoint list, or maybe I want to get sentiment data from my from Exchange here, or from a Facebook page. I can also get data from the cloud. In my case, though, I want to get data from the web. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and paste a URL in here. Let's see here. I'm going to paste that Yelp address in. Okay, here we go. And again, what you're seeing here is you're seeing, let me kind of slide a little bit over here so you can see the whole thing. You are seeing the donut stores in the LA area, LA, California. So far, so good. Just a little quick piece around that. So when you think about places that use passive variables through URLs, there's tons of them out there. The Yellow Pages does that. Yelp, Craigslist does that through RSS feeds. All those kind of places are actually doing this, what we're seeing here. Google does it even, as well as Bing. So when I hit OK, it's going to go on the web, and it's going to convert that Yelp data set into, I put on my other screen here, let me bring that over, into a data set. Now, if you look what we're seeing right now, we're actually seeing this data set as something that's not quite readable right now. So when I click on List, for example, we're seeing a list of all the, now it's only going to give me 20 stores right now with my account, but we're seeing a list of all the 20 stores that were on that page. When I select Record, now I'm saying, okay, Los Angeles, and what does it look like to you? It feels like an XML data set. That's exactly what it is. This is an XML data set that's not especially usable for us, is it? So I want to find a way, I'm going to navigate back up here, this navigator area. I'm going to hop back up to the businesses. So wouldn't it be great to then instead slice through all that XML and convert it into a proper data set? Well, unfortunately, we can't do that. So webinar over. I'm just kidding. So let's find a way to do that. So I'm going to right-click on List here, and I'm going to convert it instead into a table. Okay. Now it looks exactly the same. Before it was an array, and there's nothing to delimit over, so I'm going to hit OK. Before it was an array, and now we're seeing it looks like it's just a table with column 1. Now see this little separator icon right here? When I select that, you'll see a list of all the columns that are available in this little mini table. So things like photos and addresses, and the things I don't want, like maybe the address line 2 and 3, I can uncheck. We can also go through and say, I don't care about the distance from my center, my city center or whatnot, or my center of reference here. Then I can hit OK. Boom. Look at that. Now we have Yelp data as a proper data set. So, and again, I can remove more columns here, like the ID column and all that. Now, one thing to note here is as I do this, on the right here, we're seeing step-by-step of how we accomplished what we're seeing on the left. So if I click on source right here, I'm looking at the source. And I can kind of go from step by step and figure out what did I do to get here. And in other words, you cannot make a mistake. If you make a mistake, you can delete that one step and roll back. Now, you don't want to delete steps in the middle because it will actually cause potentially a problem. I can also go and reconfigure this, get this little gear icon here, and reconfigure how I'm delimiting all this. So be very careful because one step may be building on another step. So be careful if you delete those steps in the middle. So as I'm looking at this, we're seeing an aggregated view of all the Yelp reviews. If I wanted to get a more refined view, you'll see on the right here, again, another table looks like, right? The table, okay, where'd it go? There it is. A list of all the reviews. So if I click on this icon again, it's going to blow up the record set, and now I don't see 20 records. Instead, now I see more than that. And I can actually select this little button again and see the actual rating, the user that made the review, and so on and so on. So I'm going to actually kill that because I don't care about all those rows. So you can drill down and find out exactly the rows, or in my case, I just care about the aggregate view, and I'll stop there. We also have the photos for Yelp and all that. So lots of neat stuff we can do here, isn't it? Now, a few more things I may want to do with this data. You'll notice a whole bunch of, this is a special area of Excel, and one of the things I can do is I can right-click on the average rating. I want to show that rating in the bar chart, and I can't do that really unless it's in a number. So I'm going to change the type of this into a number. And we're going to do a lot of things around this data and make it more user-friendly and all that. But we'll stop here. What I've done so far is I've removed a few columns. I converted that into a number. And I can also convert things like the review count into a number as well. You'll notice the transformations I can do here. Once I convert this into a number, my transformations will change around. So when I right-click on this, you'll see I can round that number, or I can do absolute values, I can square root, whatever. When I look at a text data like this, my transformations are a little different. I may want to uppercase the data, or uppercase it, or do a JSON query, or an XML query, or trim it, or whatever. The other thing we can do is, like, for example, I want to get the full address of this location. So where is my address here? I want to slide to the right. Okay, I'm looking for the address of the store. Did I remove that by accident? I may have removed it. There it is. There's my address right there. I'm going to bring that address a little closer, so I'm just going to drag that column over. Now, if I want to create a full address, all I have to do is select my address, line 1, select my state. I'll then right-click, and I'll say Merge Column. There we go. When I select Merge Column, I'm going to separate that just with a space. Hit OK. So I have so far the state name. Now I also want to get the zip code. I'll right-click again. I'll merge column again. And I'm going to do a comma separating this. Or I could also say, let's give me a comma space. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to do comma space if I wanted to make it look a little cleaner. There we go. We have one new column. I will rename this column to, how about full address? Here we go. Now we have the full address for this individual store. Now again, there's lots more things we could do inside this. This is a good starting point, I think, though. So we could have, again, we could right-click and transform it other ways. We can group the data. There's lots of cool stuff we can do. We could have duplicated the column. You notice when I merged it, it removed the column. So I could have duplicated the column first and then merged it. I can do substitution of values. I can split the column out. I can do lots of good stuff. But for the time being, we're going to stop here and take a step back and figure out how we make this actionable now. So let me apply this data. And what we're going to see now is we see now of our reviews. It's sucking it all down. 20 records are coming down. There we go. I should have given it a better name. Let me edit this real quick here. You want to sit down, Power? Power's going to do my next demo with me. And I'll call this just Yelp ratings. All right. Now you'll also notice here, by the way, that I can load this into a data model. By selecting Load into a Data Model, what's happening is it's ultimately going to load this into a Power Pivot data model. So behind the scenes now, in Power Pivot, we'll see that now exists. Likewise, I can do the same thing over here in the demographics raw. I can select this, go to Power Query again, and if I want to bring this into Power Query, I can say just bring over this Excel table. That's fine. Just bring it as is, and let's see this data also. Let's transform these into numbers. So I'll right-click on all this data. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me anytime. I'm going to change this type over to a number as well, so that can go on a bar chart. And I'm going to call this demo data. And again, I'm going to load this into a data model as well. A great question from Vinay here. Can this be used to get data from Google Analytics? At this time, I haven't tried that before. That's my next step I was going to try. I believe you can do it through an RSS feed or through the API perhaps. So I don't know exactly, Vinay, on that question. I think you can. I'll have to research more about how to do that, though. So that was my next thing I was hoping to try later this week. So I now have all this data now inside of Power Query, and also it's available in my model back here inside of Power Pivot. So we're seeing that right here. So now let's do some actionable stuff with this, right? And then we'll get into our really cool demo with Tyler next. So I'm going to go over to Insert here, and I'm going to create a map that shows me where's the best place to build this store. So I'm going to go back to my Yelp data. This is my Yelp data right here. I'm going to go to Insert, and I'll go to Power Map. Now, if you attend to the other sessions this week, there's a whole session on Power Map, and I'm only going to show the 20-foot level here, but Devin showed a lot more about Power Map just yesterday, and that recording is out there. So I'm creating a new tour, and a tour is essentially a story. Picture me being a marketing person right now, and that's my goal. And what we're seeing right now is a push pin for all the different stores that are in California, all the different donut stores. So a great question here from Roger. This is actually very pertinent right now. So I've done a lot of work here massaging that data right now, right? And Roger's question is, can someone use Power Query, share their query with other people in SharePoint? So you may have noticed in small print back here, I'm going to keep that open real quick and hop over to Power Query, a sign-in button. So when I sign in, Roger, what that means is I'm actually signing in to my organization's SharePoint, Power BI SharePoint site. And by doing that, I can actually share this query out there with one button. There's a little share button over here, right there. And then when people search for queries, they will see this blessed data source in a mix of all the other data sources from the web and from whatnot. So there's a data steward somewhere out there that's approving these queries. And you can approve those to go to the web. So that's exactly what we're seeing. So Roger, great question. That is absolutely the case. So let me go back down to my Yelp data here. And I'm going to bring over the addresses, like my full address. So I'm going to kind of really isolate that store down here. And I'm going to make this a full address. Now you'll see everything else, it recognized country, state, and so on. The full address, I had to kind of select it from the drop-down list. So now we are seeing down to the very minutia level, the 20 stores that we cared about, and exactly where are they at, and I can go down and actually, if I change the theme here into more of a realistic theme, we can go down the street level and see the donut store right there. That's where my competitor is. So pretty cool, right? We can get down to really minutia. We have a little target on them now, actually. So if I want to see their Yelp rating and see if they're vulnerable, I'm going to hit Next. I'm going to look for their Yelp rating data set here. I'm looking for average rating. There it is. Whoop. There we go. So now we're seeing the average rating now. And as I kind of look at this and kind of tilt myself a little forward, the cool thing about Power Query by the Power Map here is it's very, very touch-friendly. So I use my fingers here and I kind of rotate around LA. We can see, you know, how LA looks. Where is a good spot to build my store? Now, I want to build the most expensive donut store of all times. So I need people to have a very affluent salary range. So to do that, let's bring in another data set that we have. So you've seen this first Yelp data. I'm going to go and create a new layer by hitting Add Layer. This time, I don't care about Yelp data. I want to see zip code data. So I'm just going to check my zip code ID here. Well, there's California all flagged in. And I want to find out household income. So I'm going to kind of zoom in. I'll zoom out a second here so you can kind of see a little bit of this here. And I want to hit Next. See, it recognizes the zip code. And I want to find out the household income here. So I want to check that household income. So now we're seeing it as a chart here where my household incomes are. But instead of seeing a chart, it might make sense to see it more as a heat map. Oh, look at that. Now we're really kind of pocketing our data to figure out where our good pockets of people are. Instead of doing it this way, though, I'm going to hit the region icon. Now, the region icon is going to draw a circle, draw a square, a region, around every zip code in the California area. You're seeing it across California, Hawaii, and all that right now. So if I kind of zoom in a little closer, there we go. See how fast this was? Isn't that cool? So as I go through this, okay, as I'm scrolling deeper here, they all look the same right now, right? As I kind of hover over these, we're seeing $36,000 for that as the average income for that. That's not going to be good enough for my my $30 donuts. $27,000. All right, $33,000. Okay, I got to find somebody here. It looks like over here, $71,000. There's no donut shop servicing that part of LA, and they've got a household income of $71,000. If I want to see it a little more stark, I could go over to the gear icon here, and let's take this color scale way down. And now the darker the hue here, the higher the income. So that right there, I had my mouse over, $93,000 in that zip code is their average household income. Bingo. And over here, $128,000, $182,000. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, or donut dinner, I guess, in our case, Tyler. Let's go ahead and build our store right there. But you see how we can create actionable intelligence. We started with Power Query, getting data in from the census, merging it in from Yelp, and then now we see all of our competitors on top of the demographic data. We put a map on top of it, and now we are seeing actionable intelligence. And this kind of solution you would pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for. You already own this today inside of Office, Office 365, inside of Power BI. So question here about if this data set, if this data was a shared data set, or a data set that's stored somewhere, can it be refreshed in a Power BI SharePoint site? Yes, it sure can, and I will be happy to show that just in a few moments. Let me actually hop out real quick. Matter of fact, while I'm waiting for my next demo to come up here, I'm going to open up my little Power BI sandbox. This is a question from Rahul. And as I sign in here to my company's Power BI website, now Power BI Keep Eye on the web side is going to be a hosted service by Microsoft. It's actually, if you already have Office 365, it's only about $20 more a month per user. It's pretty reasonable because they're hosting all the analysis services for you. And you'll see right here, it can do a scheduled data refresh right here. So, and they're improving it all the time, making it better and better. So there's a lot of ways of doing that, but we'll stop there for the time being because it's not really a SharePoint session. All right, so Tyler, we have a special event coming up, don't we?
Yes.
Tyler, who's sitting next to me, I'll let you get a little closer here, Tyler, since so the camera can see you. Let's see if the camera's picking you up now. Yep. All right, so Tyler has been asked about 15 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, to kind of work with me here. Yeah, he's in our QA department, and Tyler is a football, I think a junkie is probably the good way to say it. He's a little psycho about football, and he'll debate hours and hours about some minutia, historical thing about football.
Kind of. Yeah.
Hopefully we have some football fans in here, and there's a special event coming up in, I think, 3 weeks now?
Yes.
It's the
3
NFL.
weeks yesterday.
Yesterday. So it's the NFL draft. And so I wanted to find a way to make this Power Query a little more pop to those NFL fans that actually care about this. So what I did is I pulled up the NFL website here, all right, and I was able to flip through different rounds here of the NFL draft. This is historical here. This is looking at the 2012 drafts, 2013 here. This is last year here. And we are in Jacksonville, so we are feeling the pain of the NFL draft right now. It's a little more meaningful to us than it is a lot of you guys. So, any other NFL fans there? I hope so. Our draft nicks. So, what we're seeing here is just a regular HTML table here of different teams and who they picked, what position it was, and what school the person was picked from. We're also seeing this filter here for 2012. Now notice up top there, when I said 2013, that I am seeing the season up top here. And so what I want to do, let's imagine we're an NFL draft. We own a picking website, you know, and I want to go to the NFL website and get down every first round across the past, 5 years? Let's see how many years they have here.
Oh,
they have a lot of years. How many years do you want to go with, Tyler? Maybe 10 years?
I'd say 10. That's a good
Let's
trend.
go 10 years. So we want to get from 2003 all the way to 2013. So think about how you would do this. Now, this can't be done easily with SIS. This is probably going to be custom. It can be done, but it can be done with a custom program in SIS. So my first step is going to be copy this URL. Tyler, let's switch seats here. I'm going to let you drive now. So I'm going to teach Tyler. Tyler has never seen this demo before, and I'm going to teach Tyler. We're going to go uncomfortably close here, Tyler, because I want the camera to pick us both up. So we're going to teach Tyler how to do this right now. So our first step, we got the URL up top. Okay, and you can get this just off the NFL website. And I wanted to find an example that you can do as well and kind of play with. So Tyler, let's open up a new flavor of Excel here. You can close down all that right there if you like. Yeah, that's fine. Let's open up a new flavor there. Okay. All right. Actually, we've got looks like book 1 already open if you want to kind of bring that over. There we go. Oh, that's fine. Don't save it. We'll start from scratch. Everybody knows there's nothing in my sleeves here. No pre-canned demos here. We're starting from scratch. All right, let's open up. Here we go. All right, we're opening a brand new Excel. So we're starting at the exact same step that you would be starting with at home. And what we're going to do is we'll start, of course, a blank workbook. Now, you can download the Power Query plugin from the Microsoft website. It's just Bing or Google that or Bing that, and you'll find that. So we're going to go to Power Query up top there, and my hands are off the keyboard. You know how hard this is as a techie to not have our hands on it. Again, you've already seen how to bring in like custom normal data sources, like from tables and all that. We want to bring in data instead from the web again. Okay. And this is going to be a much more advanced session. So you saw a section here. So he's going to paste in that URL, and he's going to hit OK. Now, if we wanted to get more than one round, we can see there's actually going to be multiple tables. So it's scanning that HTML page right now, and it's coming back with a list of all the tables inside of it. All right. So question again from Raul, where do I get the demographic data from? The demographic data came from the census. So I got it from data.gov or the census website, one of the two there. I've been using it for years now, so you can get it from data.gov also. So if Tyler were to hover over table 0 right now and click on it just one time, it's fine, we're going to see round 1 here. If he goes to table 1, we'll see round 2, and so on and so on. We only care about, because my little draft party we're going to have only cares about round 1. So we're going to go to table 0, we'll click on it, and we're going to hit the edit button down below. This is going to then bring this table into our Power Query data set like we're seeing right now. And it looks like all these columns appear to be pretty pertinent to us. So we might want to use this. We don't really care about the header because we know all we want is round 1. So we could right click on that, Tyler, and remove that one column because all we care about. So we'll see remove up top there. There we go. So we're going to get rid of that. It is interesting to know, though, what position they were selected in, what team they came from, and all that. So let's actually right-click on that selector number, the first column, and let's convert that into a number. So we'll transform that, change type into a number. Actually, it already recognized those numbers. That's pretty slick. Okay, so it looks good, looking good here. We got our position. It looks all pretty clean. So it would be really nice, though, if I can loop over this data set. So let's give this table a name of some sort. Let's call this like player selection or whatever you want to call it, NFL draft or whatever. I don't care. Now let's keep in mind, let's don't put spaces in it though, because it actually is going to cause us to put brackets and things later, and we'll forget that. So let's take a mental note. You know how to copy that so we have it for later, just so we don't forget that. All right, perfect. So let's apply this and close it. So you guys have seen that piece already. But now, I want to basically loop over that website and pass in 2010, 2013, 2012, and so on and so on. So from this aspect, you can do this to get data from Craigslist. You can use this to get data from a lot of resume sites if you want to suck down jobs or suck down resumes. I use this for LinkedIn at one point. So lots of different things you can use for this. Really a slick thing that would take a lot of programming to do normally. Yeah. So let's go back to the Power Query piece here. Okay, and this time we're going to go from other data sources, and we're going to do a new query, which is going to be a blank query. We're looking for a blank query somewhere here at the very bottom, I guess. There it is. Yep. So this time, Tyler is going to create the query from scratch. Would you mind sliding down over here a little bit, so we don't forget a step here? Okay. Oh, you know what? I forgot one thing also. Let's close this first. I'm sorry. Let's discard this. I did forget something. Let's go back. Let's close this window right on the right here. Oh, on the right?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and close that. I'm sorry, guys. I forgot one step. I forgot the most important step. Let's discard that. So the most important step, let's go back to edit the query. So you can always go back in here. You'll see on the right there, and you'll see an edit button. Once you click on it, edit. So the piece I forgot was really the key piece. I want to be able to pass in a year into this and find out the year's draft.
Yeah.
So we want to parameterize this column. So to parameterize this, what we want to do is we'll go to the View area up top, and we'll say Advanced Editor. Now this is a language called M, very creative name, followed by N and O later. It's a very, very creative name here. But this is the query language that shows you step by step what's happening. So you'll see the table remove column and all those kind of things that have been done. So what we want to do is we want to first of all declare a variable that's going to be passed in. So right above that let command, all the way at the very top, let's go ahead and pass in a variable here. So let's call this, you're going to do it parentheses, get year. Whatever you want to call it, it's fine. You're then going to do an equal sign and then a less than sign. There we go. So that's basically specifying that I have this new variable called get year. Now over here, we're looking for that year there. So it says 2013 in that URL. Let's go ahead and put 2 double quotes, and inside the 2 double quotes, okay, put 2 ampersands inside that. So this is like classic, SSIS expressions or those kind of things, 2 ampersands. So we're basically concatenating something in there. Now we're going to concatenate in there the get year. So there we go. Right. So right between those ampersands. I'm sorry. Now get year will need to be in parentheses also. Okay. And there's one more piece around this. So all right. So can you query a question here from Brian here? Fine name there, Brian. Can you use this to get a Power Query from secure websites? You can absolutely do that. So one of the things that will pop open if it was a secure website is asking for a username password. So you can do that. I think I can actually show that in a moment also. So we're seeing get year. Now our year is a number. It's not going to be a string. So we want to kind of convert that into a string. So to do that, and we don't have to do it this time, but it's just kind of handy to show. Right before that get year parameter in the parentheses, let's do a quick formula. And we're going to call it number dot to text. Okay. So by doing this, oh, and oh, thank you. It is a greater than sign actually. We're getting corrected there. But you're right. You're right. You actually typed it right. I typed it wrong. I said less than sign, but you actually read my mind and did the correct one. So thank you, Tyler. All right. So what we're seeing here, though, let's kind of zoom in a little closer here. Can you mind put your mouse over this, or not mouth over this? So we're seeing that we're basically converting whatever is getting passed into a text, and we're we're expecting a year to be passed in. So absolutely right. That's all there is to it. So thank you, Jason, for correcting us there. Let's hit done. All right. Now it's going to basically convert this now and say, I don't know what you want here. So to do this, we could say is click on that invoke button right there, and we're going to invoke this formula and type in a year. How about 2000? Let's go back in time.
Okay.
How about 1999? Let's go way back.
1999.
All right. Let's see who's the top guy back then. Are they still even remotely? Tim Couch. Okay. Donovan McNabb.
Quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have Edwin James. So some pretty big guys in here in this case. So we're able to kind of test our formula. Let's say it worked out pretty well. Let's hit the X next to that so we can kind of roll that change that we did back. So we're going to hit the X there. All right. So we want to go back to home up top there, and we want to apply this and close it. So now we've created a function that we're expecting somebody to pass in something. All right. Good so far?
Yep.
All right.
So good.
Let's go back to that blank query idea again we had. Oh, not from web. I can't select. From other data sources. And then all the very bottom hidden is blank query. Now all this is going to do is we're going to put the years in this. Would you mind scrolling down a little bit farther here? So to do the years, what we're going to do, we got our blank query up here. And let's go back over here, and we're going to type in, all right, up top there, in that little formula bar up top, we're going to do an equal sign. And in a curly bracket, that, There you go. We're going to type in 2005. We're going to do 2003, right?
Yes.
Let's do 2000. Let's go all the way in.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 2 dots, sorry. 2013. So pass in every year from 2000 to 2013. This is basically building an array right now, so you'll end up with curly brace also. And I think it's a name for it, right?
I believe so.
When you hit enter, it's going to run that formula, and it gives us a list of years. Now that is just an array right now. So to convert this array to a table, we'll right-click on the list up top there, and we're going to convert that instead to a table. Right. So now it's actually a proper table. You can hit OK. We don't really care. We may care about years. You may right-click on that and type in year if you want. Type in, rename that column to year, so we have that. All right, but now I want to pass this year into the other system. So to do that, we're going to insert what's called a custom column. So let's call this just NFL, whatever you want to call it. NFL draft, maybe?
This is the year season.
Yeah, that'll work. So right-click on the year, and we're going to see Insert Custom Column. You'll also see Index Column below. That's where you can put like a number, like an identity column. So here we got a custom column, and we're going to, I know you copied that other query's name, so go ahead and paste that in right after the equal sign. Okay, so we're going to pass this year into the other formula. So it's going to run the other query. That query, you see NFL draft selections, was the query that he built in the previous window. And he's going to open parentheses up, and we're going to pass a column to it. You can just pass that in or double-click on that or insert. That'll work either way. And then close parentheses. So it's going to open up the other query, pass in the year, and come back with a data set. When he hits OK, he can actually type in NFL or type the column name, whatever you want to call it, NFL or whatever. And he hits OK. So now we're going to see NFL.column name in the other data set. So it's going to take a few seconds because it's actually running this query one time for every year. I actually brought down the NFL website the other day accidentally because of it. I assume it was me because I actually the website went to a 403 error after I did this by accident. Don't do that. So if we hit the little share icon, that little separator icon again, you see.
Yeah.
All right. So see that little separator icon, the little icon next to the NFL? Go ahead and select that, and then hit OK. There we go. Look at that. So now Tyler has got every single Courtney Brown. I don't recognize that name. Do you? Round 1 in 2000. No. So we're now seeing in 2000 it's to be a pretty terrible year. Looks like I recognize like one name.
Brian Urlacher.
Yeah, way down there. So now we're seeing all the different NFL seasons and what happened in those NFL seasons. So let's make sure this is still a number here. That selection right there is a number. We'll right-click on that, and it looks like if you change the type, it looks to not be a number. Let's go ahead and make that number just in case. All right, I think it's probably okay.
Year number also.
That's fine. We'll leave it as is. Okay, so we have a really intriguing query here. Let's go ahead and apply this and close this. All right, so it's going to bring this now into, I forgot one thing also. I'm sorry, Tyler. Let's actually bring this into Power Pivot because I want to do some really cool visualization on this. So let's go back to that again once it finishes up. Yeah, and a good point from Michael here. These are definitely case sensitive. These formula names and all Power M in general, the query language is definitely case sensitive. So let's hit edit again here. Okay. And there's actually a shortcut there, but we'll keep on going. Now, Tyler, you had an interesting one also. You wanted to find. Let's go ahead and load this data model into here. Load into data model and hit apply. That's going to load it now into Power Pivot. Now, your question was what about the conferences?
Yes.
Okay. So what was you wanted to find out which conference was better representing in the NFL?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go.
I'm an SEC.
You're an SEC. So as am I. We live in Florida. You have to be an SEC kind of ticket, right? So. Let's do one more query to find out what NFL, what a college league is doing best, or conference is doing best. So this may or may not work. So we're gonna try this. So we never actually rehearse this demo, but I just want to show you one more piece of how you can query this data set. So let's go back to the Power Query window, Tyler, and let's go from the web. Sorry, not from the web. We want to do an online query this time instead.
Online search.
Online search. Now, this is how you would search your local data as well as data that might be on the web as well. So, Tyler, I think we want to search for, which one is scrolling down here? I forgot our exact term here we want to search for. All right, here we go. I think it was called, there we go. It's called list, sorry, what's called? How NCAA, not Z's.
I fell asleep on the keyboard.
All right, Division I teams. Now, of course, there's a lot of Division II teams that get drafted. So this is not going to be a complete example, mind you, but teams. Okay, so this is going to be an incomplete example, but I just want to kind of show you how we can convert this data set and merge this in with other stuff. So we're seeing a list of NCAA teams. We can then, okay, looks like that actually looks to be a direct hit, doesn't it? School of Akron, full members, and where's the conference? There's our conference. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and edit this also. Let's bring this in. So in this case, we now have gone to Wikipedia in this case. See the Wikipedia icon next to it? It also can bring in things like data.gov. It can bring in your internal data sources or other kind of systems as well, and they're adding more all the time. Now, we saw in the previous data set, they had things like Arkansas, not University of Arkansas. So we want to go ahead and remove University of, so it'll match up with our other data set. So yeah, so we can right-click on that column, and you're going to see a replace option down somewhere here. Replace values, okay, yep. And it is case sensitive here also, guys, so let's do university space lowercase of. There we go, and do a space there, and let's replace that with nothing.
Okay.
Okay. There we go, and it looks like if I'm looking down here, I see Arizona State University, so let's do a space university and get rid of those also while we're at it. Okay, let's replace that also. All right, so now we're seeing a list of all the states. We don't need that key over there, so you can remove that key if you like. It's up to you. So we're seeing a list of all the states, their teams, and what conference they're part of also. So it's pretty handy. Let's go ahead and let's call this going to be, conferences or something like that. Now, there's two ways we can kind of merge this. We could take this into Power Pivot, do a join that way. The other way we can do this, if you apply and close, is let's do more like a left outer join. If we find data, let's merge it. If we can't find data, it is what it is, right? So to merge this, we're going to go back to the draft selections there. There we go. Oh, sorry, the first ones. Yeah, and we'll edit that. Now we're going to merge this data set with the conference data set. So I'm seeing teams like Florida State, Tennessee, and so on. I want to pass that name in and get back, if there is a conference, get back the conference name. So to do that, we're going to hit the merge button, which is merge queries right at the top there. Okay, so we're seeing our data set right here, perfect. And let's bring in the conferences. All right, now it looks like I'm seeing NFL school right there. So let's select that school. And I'm seeing school on the left here as well. Now, this may or may not work. We have not tried this. We're seeing that, how many matches? They can't figure out how many matches are going to come back. So if we want to inner join, we check the box here, only include matching rows. If we want to left outer join, match if you can, then we'll keep it as is. We'll keep it as is, right. So we don't know if it's going to work or not. There could be some more transformations we have to do and all that. But let's hit OK. All right, references like other queries. Oh. Are not directly accessible. Please rebuild this combination. Okay, does not like our combination. Format firewall, query, NFL season, step merge, references other queries. Okay, so we have a chain reaction here basically. So let's close this. We'll have to go a slightly different route. But that's how we would do it if it wasn't a query instead of a query instead of a query. All right, that's how we could do it. So let's visualize this a little bit here for a few minutes. Let's go ahead and apply and close. Now, what I want to do is this is our ultimate query. The NF season one is our ultimate one. So I want to now open this up in Power Pivot. So we're going to go over to the Power Pivot tab up top, and let's go to Manage. Now, because you checked that Load to Model, we should now find this in our data model over here. NF seasons in the bottom left there. This is our cube essentially inside of here in this case inside of Excel. So a few things we care about, right? In the selection, I want to find maybe the average selection. So if you select that column, the whole column here, and let's do what it says auto sum up there. We don't want to add that. So you want to delete that. That's all right. We don't care about summing that number. That doesn't mean much for us. Yeah, that's fine. Let's select it again, and let's do the average. So the drop-down box, average. Maybe do count also. That's fine. Let's do maybe the min and the max. So the min is better in this case. The lower you are drafted, the better. So how many teams at colleges actually got the highest rating?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think, Tyler?
I think that's pretty good.
What do you think as far as who's going to win this one? Which college team has the most top ranked round one players since 2000?
I'm going to say Alabama.
Alabama? All right.
I think so.
All right. I know it's
wrong.
not. I know it's not Florida. So let's also while we're doing this, let's count the schools as well.
Okay.
So let's count the schools.
Let's like that. We do a count.
Yep. And let's count also the position. So which positions are most drafted in the first round? That'd be interesting. All right. All right, so we have a whole bunch of metrics here we can kind of look at. We can say when is the average ranking, what's the average place that the Jaguars rank versus and so on and so on. This
probably really high.
Pretty high, ranked high. It's not a good thing in this case. All right, so we've got our data now to start playing with. Tyler, let's go ahead and close this window, and let's start to visualize this now. Again, it's all about actionable intelligence. And Power Query, its goal is actionable intelligence. Let's do something with this data now. So to do something with this data, what we can do is we can go over here and let's do the insert. We've already showed you Power Map. Let's kind of recap by going to Power View. Power View is an Excel plugin. It's in Power BI. It's available to you already in 2013 if you already have it. If you don't have 2013, it's a SharePoint only kind of thing you have to do. To do it, all you need is a data set, which is what we have right here. All right, so Tyler, let's go ahead and let's remove our filters. Let's uncheck all that rubbish in the back there. We don't care about any of that stuff there. Okay, and let's close this little filters. We're not going to filter in our case. So now you've already seen. I think there was already a Power View session this week. So if you want to see more on Power View, go out and check out the session earlier this week. It's recorded form. It's already out there. So what Tyler's going to do, see the little icon there, the little database icon? That means it's from Power Pivot. So let's go over there and let's find out if we check the average ranking. That's going to be what you expected. It's right in the middle of the 1 to 32, so 16 point something. All right, so let's go ahead and check that average ranking. So as you kind of scroll down. Oh, I'm sorry. The one right below it. I'm sorry. The NFL season right below it. Sorry, that's the one that we care about. All right, so let's find out the average. When you scroll up a little bit more, you'll see it. There it is. So we check it right now with no context. We'll see 16.4, which is exactly what you expect to see because we had some teams that were kind of all in mix there.
Yeah, I believe a couple one or two teams were added. Before.
So let's then check. How about the position? Which position is ranking the highest? All right. So I'll show you. Yeah, so let's hit NFL position. So the average position we're seeing, let's do a bar chart so we can really see this. All right, stack, that's perfect. Okay.
Well, actually, low would be better because that's...
Yeah, the lower you are, the better that is this time. So let's sort instead by position name. Let's sort by, click on that, yeah. There we go. And the lower, offensive tackle.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Let's make that a little bigger. Let's kind of, I'm going to kind of use my finger here, or it's on the corner there. Just make that a little bigger so we can kind of see that. There you go. Interesting. Was that a kicker?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm surprised the kicker was all first round. That had to be the kicker in the Raiders.
Yeah.
All right, so we can see that quarterback is pretty high up there.
For you.
Yep, quarterback. You have offensive guards and some offensive tackles. We're seeing the positions now. Again, very, very clean way that's the best, the safest bet generally. Tower can also hover over it and see the average position for selected for a safety looks to be about 12. So we don't want to draft a safety at least too soon. So if we were now to go and say, all right, well, let's find out which colleges are getting the most ranking. So let's now go click in the white area now. That means we're doing a new report. Let's check school this time. Okay. All right, there's our schools. And then let's go ahead and find out how about the average NFL selection. So let's find out where they're getting selected at. There we go. Let's sort this. So just check on that number there. All right, there we go. Oh, Kentucky. Let's find the count, though, because this is the average selected. Now let's go to the count of the NFL positions. That'll work. Yeah, any of those counts will work fine. So if you're sorting by the position, Kentucky's winning. If you click by the number of times they've been drafted, it looks like, there you go, looks like Miami, wow.
Miami.
I would never have guessed that.
Miami, Florida State, and USC.
I would never have guessed that. Alabama's up there at 16th. So it looks like that, yes, Miami is actually ranked higher as far as number of first-round picks, but they're ranked lower as far as the selection of those picks. They're ranked around 18. So this is actually really cool data, isn't it? Let's check one more. Maybe the minimum of the draft selection. So what's the best selection that Miami ever had? The third position is really the best they've ever been rated here. So pretty interesting stuff here. Oh, the best one that USC ever had was top billing. Georgia had a first round selection also, as well as Florida has never had one in the past 10 years. So now we want to find out, though. I want to put this in a different kind of visualization. So let's see this under other charts here. Let's see this instead as a scatter plot. Now, scatter plot is going to give us a very visual way of viewing this. The smaller the bubble, there's something on the right here, the size of the bubble is, the smaller the bubble, the better in this case. That means you've actually had a first round, first selection in this case. The vertical axis is the number of positions that the college has had. In this case, Miami has had 30 in this case, almost 30. And the horizontal axis is the average selection for that college also.
There's Kentucky with its one person that was selected.
Yep, so we can see now it actually makes a lot more sense, right? That Kentucky only had one person selected, really, really high, but it was,
that's why it skewed as average.
It skewed the average, right. So if we want to select something, and we can make it a little bigger also while we're at it. There we go. Now, if we select quarterbacks, which college produced the most first-round quarterbacks? So what do you think? I'm going to hide it real quick.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm thinking USC.
Maybe.
All right, so let's check quarterbacks.
They did have a couple of.
So we'll click quarterbacks. What do you think? So you probably click quarterbacks, and we can see on the right here all these actually rated real low. The Virginia Tech actually hold a quarterback first. Yeah, and then so on.
This one right here.
Now, if we had a table on the right here, we could see the names of the people potentially. So we can actually see that all as actionable stuff. So right now we're not seeing that because we're actually at a real high level. It's not as useful because of that. We could filter stuff out. Now, this is actually useful, but I'm curious which colleges are rising or falling over time. So that is my question now. So to do that, we'll find our year on the right here. So let's I'm going to click over here on the right pane here on this scatter plot, and let's look for a year on this field list. There it is, and we're going to drag as you scroll down the right here. We're going to drag the year down to play access, and let's see, are these colleges getting better or worse over time? So there we go. So now we're looking at 2013, how the colleges are ranked, and if we kind of uncheck quarterback here, let's kind of unfilter quarterback. All right, now, as Tyler were to hit the play button, let's look at Alabama. Let's select Alabama. Look at that. We're able to see on the left side how Alabama ranks by position now.
Nice.
So we're seeing tackles and offensive tackles and linebackers, all the line kind of guys.
That was 2013, then 2012.
Yep, and so on. So you see the trajectory here? You're able to see and trace the trajectory as it goes from year to year to year. Now, if you were to hit the play button in the bottom left here also, we can see as it goes from step to step, there's Alabama kind of right in the middle there, not really moving. Is that right? There it goes. Oh, Alabama had nobody until like 5 years ago. So they've
been improving.
They've been improving a lot, and they didn't really have anybody to speak of until recently, and their line is going more and more to the left here, isn't it? So we're able to see, and if you select 2005 down here, just click on the number 2005, we're actually able to hop from year to year on that way as well. So
it wasn't until
they were kind of sitting out
2009 that
they actually appeared first. So that is the same time a certain coach got selected, the guy we love to hate, and all of a sudden he got in there. So this is showing us a little bit about how we get this data and make it some really interesting stuff here. Of course, we can make this a table instead. So if he wanted to, he can convert that into a table. That's fine. That's a good table. And we can visualize this now as a table instead. And instead of seeing the school, let's let me show the players. So let's, do we have player names here? We do. There we go. Go ahead and check that. So now, if he says we're ranking this by position, if he checks the quarterback ranking right now, now we're seeing the quarterbacks that, and we can sort by selection here, right? The minimum selection. All right, there's our top quarterbacks across all time. Now he can also
number one.
Number ones, yeah. He can also, though, one of the interesting things he can do is instead of putting the year there, we can also put the year as a tile by. So let's check that out. So drag the year up to the tile by. Now we're going to see the years on that top axis. So now we're looking for the only quarterback drafted in 2000 was this Marshall quarterback. Chad Pennington, yeah. So if we go to 2004, 2005, and kind of flip around and see all the quarterbacks picked in the first round by rating here. Eli Manning there, Phillip Rivers, that was definitely a big year there.
Very good year.
Very good year. So lots of really, it's how fast it is, and its learning curve is pretty low in it. It's not too bad, especially once you kind of play around with Alex Smith. That's funny. Alex Smith, the first pick there also.
First overall.
Yeah.
He's taken above Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and Jason Campbell. So lots of interesting stuff we can find out there. I hope you didn't mind the data. Tyler and I are a little obsessed with this time of year with the draft picks and all that, and we have way more conversations than we should have about it probably. Let me put yeah. Well, thanks, Tyler, for playing along.
No problem.
Let me go ahead and put my title slide up here. We're down to the last few minutes. All right, so a few questions to the audience here. Let's see here, as a note, okay, about case sensitivity. John's asking, when will there be a 24-hour trainer book? Okay, gotcha. That's actually interesting. We're looking at doing that now also on Power BI. The challenge of Power BI is it's being enhanced so fast that as soon as you write a book, in 6 months since you write a book, it's completely different. They update this product about 2 months, 3 months. I get a little signal saying it's been updated. The neat thing, though, you can do is this stuff is available and searchable. So after Tyler builds this amazing query, other people can find that query in his list and actually view that as well. So lots of good stuff you can do. Well, guys, we're ending our week right now. I want to appreciate you guys for coming on Friday. I know Friday's a hard day to come. Hopefully you enjoyed the whole week of sessions on Power BI. We're going to have some other ones as well. But I hope you enjoyed this data set and made it a little more fun today in our last day of Power BI sessions. Thank you so much for attending, guys, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.